This morning, we're doing something totally new. Well, not totally new, I explore a lot, but we're gonna take a drive up a road here near my home called Castle Hot Springs Road. Now, as many of you may know, Castle Hot Springs Station used to be the name of Morristown. Well, they called it that because there was no highway then, and there was barely a trail. So everything that came in or out of here came on the railroad. And Castle Hot Springs Station was right across the highway from where we live. And then I think it was 1920, the whole kit and caboodle burned down, and except for two buildings. And one of the buildings that survived was the post office, which is now privately owned. And it's kind of falling apart. Somebody has it on their property. And this building right over here was the other building that survived. And that big two-story affair right there. And what they did was, they brought that building over here board by board. Took it down, numbered all the boards, brought it over here, and put it along what was to be Highway 60 here in Arizona, which is right there. You can see the traffic going by. Well, back then it was nothing but a dirt road. But now, of course, it's a full-size highway. So anyway, I'm going to get back to you here in a little bit, and we'll talk as we move along. But we're going to take the drive from Morristown up the old route all the way up to Castle Hot Springs, which is a resort. And that's pretty cool history too, and I'll tell you about it. And maybe all the way to Lake Pleasant. And then we'll come back. It's like a big loop. And well, without further ado, I'm going to get out here on the highway and we'll get rolling. Okay, right now we're sitting here at the Morristown Fire Department and school. And there's a post office back there. And in reality, that's all there is in town. We're a one-horse town. But Highway 60 is right up here where this road ends. And Highway 74 is right over here. And we're going to take off here toward Highway 74. And we're going to cross Highway 74. And we will be on gravel shortly after that. And I'll get back with you. This is actually Castle Hot Springs Road we're on right now. And we're headed for the gravel and across those mountains you see ahead all the way to Lake Pleasant. Alrighty, we're just now crossing Highway 74. And back when I was a younger man, coming out here hunting gold, this was BLM property here, Bureau of Land Management, which was public land. And there was a land swap done here with the BLM and the state. And once the state got a hold of it, they kept it for a while as Arizona State Trust land for education and blah, blah, blah. But now the state has decided to sell off lots. So what we have now is a bunch of high-end houses out here. And they have horse rights and a lot of cattle, and it's kind of a neat area. And once we get through here, the pavement ends, and then we're out in the desert. And the first place we're going to see when the pavement ends was actually a watering shop for the 20 mule wagon teams and stagecoaches that went to Castle Hot Springs, taking the, I guess back then you'd call them wealthy people, to enjoy the hot springs. And then of course the 20 mule teams were here to haul mine ore and stuff back and forth to the railroad to be transported to smelters. So I'll get back with you in a minute. This area is really popular with the guys on the UTVs and dirt bikes and whatnot. The pavement ends right up here. And most of the guys do real well and take care of the ground and don't tear things up. But then of course you always got the group that's just got to wreck everything and blaze new trails, which you're not supposed to do out here at all. And the BLM's getting a little perturbed over the whole thing, as it is the state. And that's only going to lead to more rules and regulations, I'm afraid. And out to the left, what we just passed over there was a quarry called the Apache Quarry. It got repoed back in the 80s or 90s by the state for not paying taxes. And that's where this red rowlite rock that's on the road came from. But now the state uses the rock for just that purpose, the road. So anyway, as we get to the top of the hill here, I'll show you Jeff's place. Now the house you see right over here is owned by Mon Ranches, and that's one of the biggest ranching companies in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see the corral down here and their other stuff, and we're going to drive past that. But all of that right there, there's a water tank up on the hill here, and there's a well. And this is where they watered the mules and the horses for the mule teams and the stagecoaches that went to Castel Hot Springs. And there was a couple other watering stations along here, because them critters drink a lot of water and they got to travel in the desert. But you gotta love just how rugged and beautiful it is out here. So I'll be back. Now this little road you see off to the left right here, that's called North Mine Road. That goes back to the placer areas where you see me find a lot of gold nuggets. So, just so you know. Now we're coming through Jeff's property here, and this is where the 20 mule teams and everybody actually stopped and stretched their legs, and there was a little stage stop up here, and it was a real neat area years ago. The BLM took a lot of it down, and of course the ranch took part of it down, but some of the old buildings or stuff there are still there. I'm not going to show them and his property well, just to respect his privacy, but it looks like he's sitting right here in his truck, so I might just stop and say hello, or at least give him a good wave. He is a good friend and lets me hunt a lot of his areas out here. Nope, he's not in the truck, but they're not far away. They're moving cattle around and doing what ranchers do. Okay, so here we go, headed for the desert and the mountains. And this isn't going to stay nice and flat very long. We're going to hit some pretty good mountains pretty quick here. Yeah, you know, sometimes here in Arizona, we just flat out forget what an amazing place we live in. And to folks that have never seen some of these back roads or heard some of the stories of the Old West, it's just going to be fascinating. So I've decided I'm going to start sharing a little more of just showing off Arizona. I think it's a cool thing to do, and it'll give a lot of you folks a look at just an amazing part of the United States of America here. Now, they call this a desert, but as you look, it doesn't look as bad as one would think. We have stuff growing in this desert. These people you see camped out here riding dirt bikes and whatnot. I don't know if it's hunting season or not, but we have deer hunting and javelina hunting and other critters that they shoot here. So, but a lot of people camp along here just to get out. It's pretty chilly right now. I don't think I'd want to be camping out here. And over here to the left, let's see if I can tilt this for you. That mountain you see to the left way over there with the tip on it is called Red Picacho. And that is an old volcanic vent. And that was probably quite the show when it was going off. But it caused a lot of the contact zones that produced some of the secondary enrichment out in this area for gold hunters. And then there's also some of the placer gold areas here that are over 300 million years old. So a lot of gold in this area and a lot of history. This is one of the local residents here. These burros are quite common out here. And I'm sure there's a couple more right nearby. He's a handsome fellow, isn't he? Just kind of sitting there looking at me, wondering why I'm looking at him. Young male. And off he goes, and off we go. All of this area here has a very rich history of mining. Everything from silver and gold and tungsten and lots of other minerals I don't even know of. I know there's some huge lithium deposits out here that mine nickel. Lots and lots of copper. And just one little tip for you guys that hunt gold. I can say without a doubt that anywhere you find copper in this great state of Arizona, you also are going to find gold. Now, whether that gold is in mineable quantities and profitable quantities is one thing. But a lot of what I look for out in Arizona, and I'll drive for miles sometimes to go to an old copper area, copper mining area, just to check that area out and look for stringer veins that might hold gold, or small little placer deposits that the copper miners overlooked because they just didn't care. There wasn't enough gold to make a huge profit. They didn't bother with it. So, and as you can see, we're getting a little farther back now, and the road is maintained to a point along here, but that doesn't mean you can just drive back here in any old vehicle. Sorry about the rattling in the old truck, but a lot of stuff in here just kind of rattles right along with us. So, but anyway, a lot of this area here can get pretty rough. And if you get back in here with the wrong type of vehicle, you might have to end up calling for help, which is expensive for one thing, and it's not good to get yourself in danger for another. But we're just cruising along. Like I said, I'm going to show you what this road's like from one end to the other. So here's a lot better view of red Picacho for you right there. And this is pretty amazing. They have what's called red Picacho, which is the big one there, and then there's white Picacho. We can't see it from this angle, but it is granite. And this is basalt and andesite and other volcanic materials, but it pushed this way and up and brought that granite up with it and got to the surface and split wide open. It's pretty neat formation. And right now we're starting to get into some deeper washes and a little bit more rugged country. And out here, one thing to remember, if you go off-road out here, which you can in many places, a good part of this is public land. You know, a lot of people aren't used to just public land where you can just go wherever you want, but we have lots of that here as long as you respect it. And if a gate says, please close gate, please close the gate, because you could cause cattle to get out where they can't get to water. That's very expensive for the ranchers. And it also gets them really, really mad. And if it says leave the gate open, same thing, leave that gate open. And if the gate's locked, well, that's just the way it is. Sometimes people don't listen enough and they leave those gates open or closed when they're not supposed to. And things get shut down. Now this is another watering area right here, and this is also a ranch. And I believe it's owned by Mon Ranch as well. And my friend Jeff's son, I do believe, lives out here and handles this end of the ranch. And we're in gold country right here. And this is also Trilby Wash right here. Now a lot of you know I found a meteorite, my very own meteorite that nobody had ever located before, never been found. It was a whole new thing, and I found it. My name's on it, William Southern, and it's called Trilby Wash. And I found it in this basic area right here. And I'm sure there's more pieces of it to be found to those that want to get out and look for them. But we're going to drive up the hill here, and after we get past the ranch, and I'll get back with you. Now we're getting up here a little ways. When we started this little journey, we were way, way back down there where it's flat. It's not flat anymore. As you can see, we're getting up into the mountains pretty good here. And I'm sorry about all the chips and the nicks in the windows and stuff like that, but you know what, my friends? When you got a truck you drive out here in the boondocks a lot, those nicks and chips are pretty common. And if I had to replace a windshield every time I chipped one or cracked one, I'd go broke buying windshields. So anyway, we're going to keep traveling along here. And if you notice, we've seen very few people up here. And not a lot of people take this road. And for you people who like to get out and explore, this is a pretty cool road to do it on. If you notice, there was a water tank in the last shot I took. And there used to be a windmill everywhere you saw one of those water tanks. But nowadays, modern technology, not many windmills out here that are operating anymore. They're kind of antique, and that's kind of sad. I enjoyed the windmills, but they've all become solar panels now. It doesn't take much, a small solar panel to keep your tanks full for your cattle, and sure, a lot less maintenance. Those windmills broke down a lot, and they had to come out and work on them. And as you can see, we're getting down into it here. It's Picacho up on the left there, and we're getting back into boonies a little bit. And this is the kind of country I spend a lot of my time in. I just absolutely love this desert. And I spend, I couldn't even add up how much of my life I've spent probably just driving the desert, checking washes, and yep, I have a metal detector with me. I have a coal monster in the back here, just in case I see a wash that I just can't resist, and I gotta get out and check the bedrock, especially after a good solid rain like we had. We just got 2 inches of rain, and that's why I chose today to come out. And pay attention how it looks on this video, because the next upcoming videos and over the next few weeks, this place is going to just burst into flowers. It's going to be amazing, absolutely amazing. We're going to keep cruising along out here.